everyone, my name is Szabo. Welcome to my vlog. The impact on sustainability of the fashion industry has prompted me to critically analyze Boohoo's brand profile and future sustainability strategy. In this vlog, we'll be looking at the company's current business model, the vision, mission, and values, and its environmental, social, and economic implications. Boohoo is a British.com business in the fast fashion industry, incorporated in 2006. It adopted a mantra of selling clothes globally with a discounted price point and aiming at placing new garments on the market in record times. Fast fashion, the name is self-explanatory, stands for speed in operations and short-lived fashion trends that reduce a garment's life cycle. All this is done at scale and to instigate consumerism. Boohoo states that their mission is to lead in a way that delivers for their customers, people, suppliers, and stakeholders. Their mission is to use their social reach to educate, empower, and inspire their customers for change. Their values are to have passion, being agile, creative, commercial, and working as a team. Let's analyze some of their financial information. Data of Boohoo's 10-year annual revenue and number of active customers show exponential growth for both parameters. They boldly claim for the past 10 years all their revenue is reinvested in the company's expansion and improvement. It is true, they have succeeded to capture market share and sustain economic growth, but I argue that improvement claims beyond the economic bottom line are at best vague and questionable. Research performed shows there is a lack of transparency as to how much exactly Boohoo invested into transitioning to sustainable and ethical operations. Boohoo stated it aims to educate and inspire change to reduce negative impacts of fashion. Boohoo generated a total of £7.2 billion in revenue in the past 10 years. However, we don't know how much exactly is diverted towards environmental and social factors. It is to note that transparency is a fundamental criterion of ESG. The lack of transparency is a red flag, considering Carroll's CSR pyramid, suggesting a business must comply with economic, legal, ethical, and philanthropic responsibilities to be sustainable. And business ethics is supposed to permeate the governance structure of the company. The first problem is with the business model. It is based on only one pillar of Elkington's triple bottom line framework, the economic pillar, which highlights the capitalist culture embedded in the company governance structure. Boohoo's board have traded off the environmental and the social factors from the triple bottom line framework from the start and disregarded any implication on the wider biosphere. Disregarding social and environmental factors in the company governance structure can be costly. In 2020, allegations rose of poor working conditions at warehouses in Leicester that brought on an independent review by the Crown Prosecution Service. The review found serious issues in the company's supply chain. Boohoo failed in ensuring its supply chain is free from exploitation, and the investigations into the working conditions suggested workers were being paid below the minimum wage amid unsafe working conditions. Also, there were reports of widespread abuse of employment law at some of its suppliers. And these are examples of practices going directly against the Sustainable Development Goals 1 and 8, so no poverty and decent work, respectively. During this period, over 1.5 billion was wiped off of Boohoo's stock market value. The second problem is that fast fashion businesses like Boohoo operate under a linear economy framework, and disregard for the Sustainable Development Goals becomes again clear. Fast fashion works by consistently overproducing to instigate consumerism, and this goes against SDG 12, which is responsible production and consumption, because it resulted in Boohoo emitting over 780,000 tons of CO2 in 2020, and it contributed to the 92 million tons of textile waste per year in the wider industry. Unless real efforts are made to transition to circular economy, the current linear economy framework threatens to collapse the global biosphere for future generations. After the independent review, the company increased its focus on ESG matters. It implemented a program, Agenda for Change, aimed at improving the supply chain practices and ensure workers' rights, better production, and increased transparency. They also hired retired Judge Brian Leifson to oversee its efforts to improve work conditions in its UK supply chain, and he wrote, Boohoo has made progress in addressing these issues, including implementing responsible purchasing practices, sustainability, and ethical compliance, as well as modern slavery training programs. However, the company acknowledges that challenges remain and it is committed to maintaining focus on these critical issues. If we look at the wider industry, there are fashion brands that can be a transitional inspiration for Boohoo.com. Customer awareness of social and environmental factors is growing, and the case of businesses attaining a B Corp certification and that are profitable and that do operate responsibly are the proof that change is viable. A B Corp certification is a designation that a business is meeting high standards of verified social and environmental performance, meaning they are accountable for all stakeholders, not just shareholders, and that they meet transparency requirements about their performance measured against B Lab's standards by sharing this information publicly. Patagonia are a successful B Corp certified brand, and their example of sustainable approach includes joining the 1% initiative by donating 1% of annual sales to grassroots environmental groups, and they are transparent about it, so it brings reputational benefits. They make 98% of products from preferable fibers, including recycled, and as of 2020 they are reliant on 100% renewable electricity in the United States and 76% global. Another great B Corp example is Veja, a footwear company. They elegantly cut out intermediaries to work directly with producers on pre-agreed prices for cotton and rubber, ensuring producers can live decently and reinvest into their farms. To summarize where progress is needed in the industry, U Underwear is an excellent example. The CEO of the company, Sarah Jordan, stated, "We are implementing the circular fashion scheme to recycle underwear, looking into more sustainable material options, improving our packaging, and creating a more inclusive sizing range." Likewise to these previous brands, Boohoo too can implement changes for the better to uphold their vision, mission, and values. Recommendations for the future offer the short, mid, and long-term ESG-related factors. In the short term, the first recommendation to improve Boohoo's score in the ESG framework is to reduce the payment gaps. Reports show directors' compensation package being 40 times as much as of a manager and 60 times of an associate. In 2023, directors will take home a total salary of £1,352,000, excluding hefty bonuses, whilst associates are on the mid-23,000 per year. Furthermore, in April 2020, the gender pay gap data for the group showed females were paid 4.1% more than males using median results, and males 10.8% more than females using mean results. Independently of the measure of central tendency, inequalities in the gender pay must be eradicated. This is to uphold the company vision of delivering to all stakeholders and to respect the company value of teamwork. The second challenge to be addressed is to phase out plastic and non-biodegradable packaging. To truly inspire customers for change and sustainability, this is a minimum to uphold the company mission. A third recommendation is to map the entire product supply chain. Boohoo has launched a sustainability strategy upfront which focuses on smarter manufacturing of clothes, better terms for suppliers, and responsible business practices to reduce their carbon footprint. However, for this initiative to be more than just greenwashing, it is fundamental to know the partners and suppliers of the business so that further measures can be taken. Otherwise, the business's vision and mission are again overlooked. In the midterm, within 5 years, the first recommendation goes towards investing in innovative materials that will allow a circular economy through effective recycling, reducing water stress and pollution. The second recommendation stems from the first, to redesign manufacturing processes and garments for the new materials, but also for the ones currently in use. This is to facilitate repair and recycling, which is fundamental for the sustainability of the textile industry. The investment must be at scale, and transparency of funds allocated is fundamental. Furthermore, collaboration with the wider industry is also fundamental to educate and inspire a world for change. Giving specific attention to the supply chain partners to implement change towards circular economy is a must for effective transformation of the business model. The third recommendation is to reduce speed in operations. This includes sourcing of raw materials, yarn production, manufacturing, and distribution. Embarking onto a campaign to reduce consumption by shifting business model to a slower economy and increasing garment quality for increased durability. The UK targets to reduce GHG emissions by 77% by 2035, but studies show that even with a 50% reduction of textile consumption, this target is going to be missed. It is fundamental to account for the total cost of consequences of current operations to truly deliver to all stakeholders. In the long term, within 10 years, recommendations go towards a complete strategic overhaul to ensure survival of the business. It cannot continue to operate under the current strategy because it's compromising the basis of the global economy, the society, and the environment. The first recommendation is to shift company culture to encompass consideration for the whole triple bottom line framework: society, environment, and economy, and shift core values towards slow fashion. Changing cultures and values requires time, but it must be a fundamental goal if Boohoo wants to inspire for change and educate people. The second recommendation is to build reverse logistics infrastructure and capacity for recycling. This is to close the loop on the economy. It will require time, as strong investment and technological advancements are needed. The infrastructure must be built at scale, and the transition requires collaboration with partners of outsourced operations. Otherwise, the operations must be brought back into the company to ensure progress. The third recommendation is to take a page from Patagonia's book and transition to 100% reliance on renewable electricity domestically and increase the global performance. Whilst this is done, it is also important to phase out polymer-based raw materials from products. This is to completely remove reliance on fossil fuels in the next 10 years. With these recommendations, Boohoo will be well on track to become a global power of sustainability and an exemplary business that empowers, educates, and that cares, whilst reaping reputational benefits and capture market share in a positive way. Thank you very much, everyone, for taking the time to listen to my vlog. I hope this will help us raise some awareness about our own consumer behaviors, and let's all work together for a better world.